I just have a statement. I did opt both my children out and was told that I could not. I've stood up at meetings that were put on by our school system, by our curriculum specialist, in which our curriculum specialist told me that we could not opt out because they could not opt out. I have several issues. I have sent a request to my daughter's principal because her teacher is not in the classroom. Her teacher is out constantly. They are doing training, and I have made a request to her principal as to how many hours that the teacher has been out of the classroom, and she is refusing to answer me. I spoke to a kindergarten teacher in Southington who told me that she is silenced, that she does not on Sunday, that she has been silenced and she can't speak about the negative effects that this training has had on her kindergarten classroom. And privacy, I also inquired with the state of Connecticut, with Abe Christ, the director of technology, and he could not tell me that my child's data was secure. That was all I needed, because they have yet to select a company that will be actually doing the testing. So if you cannot secure my child's privacy, then my child should not have to take that test. And it is not a test for my child. Again, many parents are confused. They think that this is a grade for their child. This is not a grade for their child. This is a grade for the school, the teachers, the districts, and the state. And you should not have to put my child through 9 hours of testing for a grade for you. I'm sorry.
What's your name?
Kim Grustus in New Hartford.
You spell your last?
Grustas.
Just to piggyback on what Kim said, I also spoke with him, and I spoke with Gail Pagano, who's for the State Department of Education for the assessment. And I specifically asked her, how are you doing this test? How are you testing it? And she said, what's going to happen is the kids are going to be divided into different academic levels. The higher achieving kids are going to get the easier test, and the lower achieving kids are going to get the harder test. So they can see if it's too easy or too hard. So we're setting our kids up for failure. If my kid was going to have medical testing, you'd have to get my permission. So why should we allow our children to be tested this way without our permission? When I spoke with Mr. Chris, I said, what are you going to do with my son's data? I don't know. Seriously? You don't know. We saw what happened when they sent out the wrong information to people from unemployment from the state of Connecticut. I'm supposed to allow you all this personal information and you don't even know how you're going to store it or how you're going to use it? These are serious concerns. They're putting this stuff into place before it's been thought through. And I'm sorry, my son is not going to be your guinea pig. He is a boy, he's a person, and he's going to have a future, despite the best efforts of the Department of Education.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say something. My name is Kathy Cordone. I'm actually also a retired teacher from the same district Gloria's from. I also served on the Board of Education in my town, and I decided not to run again because I could not be part of what's going on in education right now. I taught for 37 years. I'm a former district teacher of the year, as is Gloria, and I'm a grandmother of 2 beautiful little children who will be starting kindergarten in 3 and 4 years, and I'm outraged by what's going on. I look at those little precious babies, and I'm so excited about how they're exploring the world, learning new things at their own pace, and they find enthusiasm. I think their enthusiasm is going to be crushed by what's going on in kindergarten, and that's what hasn't really been addressed. You've mentioned it about kindergarten. These standards are developmentally inappropriate and are placed at the wrong grade levels. Too much has been pushed down too soon, and the writers of the standards did not take into account how young children learn. That is why 500 nationally prominent educators, pediatricians, researchers, and developmental psychologists signed the Joint Statement of Early Childhood Education Standards Initiative, opposing the standards as being developmentally inappropriate for our youngest students, and that was in 2010. There was not one early childhood expert on the writing or validation committees, and they paid no attention to what this group said. And I see all of this is interrelated. It's a three-headed monster. of Common Core standards, Common Core aligned high stakes tests, and tying teacher evaluation to test scores, and it's extinguishing the excitement and joy that true learning engenders. I've been researching Common Core for the last 10 months, ever since I attended a CAVE seminar on it. And I'm convinced that Common Core will not have the positive outcomes that proponents predict, and we will have wasted billions of dollars on this experiment, money that would have been much better spent directly on our children. Only the legislature has the power to change course, and we've been talking about what this test is that's coming up. It is, as they've said, it's not a test of mastery. There will be no results reported back to children, back to parents, back to districts. There's no reason to take it. It's just a test of the test. There's no level of mastery set. And we've talked about standardized tests. I've taught 3rd and 4th grade for 20-something years, part of my career. And at one time it was every other year. Okay, but at least I got some feedback on what they didn't do well on. These tests don't do that. It's just a way to measure what our district is doing, trying to put people, districts against each other, and this district's doing well and this one isn't. I happen to be coming from a district that does very well, but that's not the point. These kids are being tested to death, and it's wrong, and I don't want to see my little grandchildren have to go through this. I mean, my daughter wants me to homeschool. That's how upset she is. So something's got to be done, and the legislature's the only one that can do it.
Isn't the parents here trying to opt out? Or are you just doing the answer?
I can get you in touch with some.
Jesse, do you think the turnout today is a little lower because as of yesterday there will be public hearings now? That the Republicans used the procedural vote to force public hearings?
That's what we're hearing. But we're also hearing that we have a public hearing tomorrow in which the public will not be here, in which we'll have a Common Core public hearing tomorrow, and the head of education, Benny Fleischman, will have 3 speakers. Our Commissioner of Education, a Common Core supporter. We'll have someone from the NGO who has to support the Common Core, and another Common Core supporter. So I'm not ready to give up. I'm not as optimistic. I think you have lower numbers here today because teachers are teaching. They're also afraid to come over here. And you have parents, where are they? They're at work and their kids are in school. So turnout is fine. I wanted to end with finally one thing. We had a campaign. We had a campaign, a Valentine's Day campaign. We collected Valentine's Day's cards for the governor. It did snow, and the Valentine cards were simple. We love to learn, but we hate your tests. And we have a whole bunch of them over here, from all kinds. I have hundreds booked back at the university, and this teacher's ones were hope for happy, healthy, knowledgeable, highly motivated citizens. And then on the corner it says, the end of high stakes testing. And then we have from one little kindergartner, honor, wisdom, love, kindness, truth, and it gives you the sun. What's going on now is we're killing that spirit. It's time to stop that. I like assessment. I'm the assessment person at Central. What I don't like is assessment abuse. Thank you. I think we're done. If you have any questions, you could ask us later. Thank you.
Thank you.